So I want to do a quick demonstration of using, I use this blue safe release tape from 3M. I find it to be the best, but I want to show you how it works. Now I use it on all my trim, and I use it on my ceiling cut-in lines, and I use it on accent cut-in lines. So, and then when I put it on, I actually seal it with paint. So I'm going to show you how I go about doing that, and I want to run a comparison with the way that I do it with frog tape. Okay, now this green frog tape is what's known as a medium adhesion tape. So if you have a really delicate surface, like if you just painted the trim or the walls, use the yellow one. Okay, that's a delicate surface one. That's the one you're meant to use. All right, so I have a textured wall. So let's pretend like we're gonna do stripes in the room, okay? So I'm gonna test this for you guys so you can see what it looks like. So this is the frog tape. And then I'm gonna use another piece of frog tape. I'll show you why in a second. Okay. I'm gonna push it down really well on the textured surface. And then my blue safe release tape. All right. Now, what I do all the time, I don't use the frog tape, I use the blue tape because I've had more success with that. So I put it on, and then the color that I'm trying to protect in this case would be the wall color, right? We don't want the new color to go behind the tape. So we're going to seal the blue tape with the color that I'm covering, which is the wall color here. So I'm going to seal this with the wall paint. And the reason, this might seem like it takes a little more time than the frog tape demonstration, but in my experience, this has just worked better. But you could try either way. You'll actually be able to tell by the end of this experiment. Now, this frog tape, I'm gonna leave alone. Okay, now frog tape has a special chemical on, I believe it's on the top of it. So what happens is when you put wet paint on it, it causes some kind of chemical reaction to release the product that's on here, which keeps the paint from leaking behind. Now, in my experience in the past, I've done that and it has leaked. So one thing I found out about frog tape though is if you put it on a rough surface like this, take a wet rag and run it over the top of it first. Okay, and that's supposed to release the glues or whatever's on here and it should seal up the edge here. Okay, I guess we're going to find out in a few minutes. All right, so I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then we're going to throw just some white paint on it just to test it and see how well it works. So the paint that I used to seal this is dry, and the tape that I ran the wet rag over is nice and dry. So let's put a color on here. And then on here. Okay, so you could pull the tape now. I like to pull it when it's completely dry, so I'll let you decide on that. But I'm going to wait for this to dry, and then we'll pull it off, and we'll see how everything turned out. All right, so as you can see, as I zoomed in close, so this is where I did my blue safe release, and then I sealed it with this paint before I painted this paint, and it turned out perfect. There's no leakage here whatsoever, so you get this nice, really clean, straight line. This is the frog tape without any kind of either wetting down of the tape or sealing of the tape. And it leaked. Now, it's not a complete surprise to me. It's a textured wall, and it's really hard to keep that without sealing it somehow. So if you decide to use the frog tape on a rough surface, you should seal it, right? So then to me, like, what's the point of the frog tape? That's why I like the blue stuff better. And then on the top, so the top actually turned out pretty well. there are leaks. There's a small one here, and there's one here, and there's one here. So, but it's not bad. So if you're going to use the frog tape, if nothing else, at least wipe it down with a wet rag first, so that helps seal it. I think the best bet, though, just to get away from this, even this small leakage, is to go ahead and seal the frog tape. All right, so I'm still going to default to what my favorite is: blue safe release, seal it with whatever color you're protecting, and then paint your new color on, okay? So it's really great when you're doing your transitions between the trims. So I tape up the trim before I paint the walls, and I seal it. I do the same thing with the baseboards, and if you notice the ceiling cut-in line that I do the exact same thing. I think it's just the best way to go about it, okay?